I extend a special welcome to all of you that have taken away from your time to come meet this evening. If you be in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance with the flags are in the back. A moment of silence, please. Thank you. The pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. First item on the agenda this evening is the approval of the minute. That's a good. We have a motion by Councilmember Forrest. Is there a second? Second. Second by Councilmember Superman. Councilmember Green. Are there any questions? If not, all in favor of approving the previous meeting minutes? Aye. Is there any opposed? No opposed. So the minutes are approved. Agenda item 2 is a presentation by President Dave Fitzgerald. Chief Brendan as well.
Good evening.
Good to see you back there, Chief.
Good to be back.
I was,
How do I look?
I was blocking.
You notice there's something different about me?
Okay. We'll wait for young ladies to get squared away.
We almost ready.
Council has the PowerPoint.
Oh,
here.
okay. Okay.
Is it in the printed packet? So there are printed copies at the back.
Okay.
So
You start from the front.
Yeah. You ready to?
Yep. He said, ready to go.
All right. So,
You want to go ahead,
I
Mr.
wouldn't
Burrow?
wait for it.
Okay.
all right. You guys, does everybody have the packet in front of them?
Yeah.
Okay. Like I did last time, I'm going to kind of blister through this. You guys can read. So I'm going to go through this and then, any questions you have for me just regarding anything in general. Let's get to that after this. So first page is 6 months, January 1 through June 30th. In-town fire calls, 87. That represents 37% of our calls. Out of town, 145. That represents 62 and 2/3 calls. Past months increased 33 total calls. Moving on to the next is the year, basically the past year to date, 161 in town, 271 out of town. It's a percent or two off from the year prior. So not any big fluctuation, between inside, outside of town calls. Where are we here? Busiest days on the next page, the past 6 months, Sunday followed by Friday. And busiest times 3 to 4 p.m. followed by 8 to 9 p.m. This is all just stats. There's no rhyme or reason to why that is. Prior year to date, Friday busiest day followed by Tuesday, busiest times of day 3 to 4 followed by 8 to 9. The only difference is the year prior, year to date, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. followed by 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. being busiest times. Again, I have no idea why that is, and we would waste all of our time trying to guess why that might be. Don't bother thinking too far into that. Simultaneous calls, past 6 months, 45, 2 fire rescue calls occurring at the same time. 5 times did 3 calls occur at the same time. So we're already out on one call. Second call comes in the middle of that. Sometimes a third call comes in the middle of that. Again, past 6 months, 27 times. The year prior to date, 63 times did 2 fire calls happen at the same time. 5 times did 3 happen at the same time. Again, Berlin is famous for the 1-2 call, be it fire and EMS. I don't know why that is. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Your guess is as good as mine. all that closing out to, sorry. Our response times have gotten better. January 1 to June 30th, 2 minutes, 59 seconds, whereas prior year, 3 minutes, 31 seconds. I would attribute that more towards the prior year communications staff down at Central was new. So they're feeling their way through just how to do anything. Sometimes it's all they can do to just click the button and hit response. I tender that our response times have been excellent all along, but you get new people, they're a little overwhelmed, especially on bigger calls. It's subject to how quick did they click the button. And if you're new and you're overwhelmed, it might take a bit longer. You already acknowledged it. We will verbally want to hear right away X unit responding. But if you're new and a lot's going on, you have to acknowledge the unit that's responding on the air, and you have to click something. It's a lot. So as they get a little seniority in their positions, they get a little more efficient, they get quicker. Again, I tender, we've been doing good all along, but we're subject to what they input. As they get better and more tenured, I think you'll see countywide, everybody's response times seem to come down. And you might say, well, why is that? Because they're getting more proficient at talking on the radio and clicking response at the same time. That's it for the fire side.
You've got control.
Oh, okay, well, we'll just read up there. Okay, so, we got control. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My brain didn't absorb what you just said. So on the admin side, just the volunteer manpower, that's the 6 months manpower. So 3,308 hours. Again, and that, just to reiterate the little statement at the bottom, that is only what we record via our electronic system. There's hours, example, the chief and I and the chairperson of the board and our EMS captain had a meeting today about something for an hour and 15 minutes. So that's, almost 5 manpower hours that aren't going to be listed because we don't stop and put all that in the computer. We need to get in and have a meeting and do our thing, then worry about the computer. The computer is for when everybody's coming or the emergency calls. So that's why we say there's many more hours. That's the year. So 6,092 hours. You see that's about 300 more hours than last year. For the 6 months, really no significant revenue issues. For the year, we still receive negative comments, about our donation drive. We just have people that are transient, move into the area. They come from an area where they wonder why we're sending out a donation letter because they're expecting, or they've come from an area where it's either all career or every single penny is coming from government somehow. We did have a slight increase in event parking at 500 hours over last year. The expense, we've given you the last 6 months. During the heating season, January to June, we did have a lot of breakdown of our heat exchangers. If some of your memory is good, you recall we did a boiler replacement, large expense about a year ago, but we only did the boiler itself, what makes the heat, makes the water hot. We did not do every fixture in the building. So this year it's going to be about $50,000. If you remember from the budget presentation, they're going to come in and replace everything that they did not replace in the 1965 and the 1991 edition. I mean, that's original equipment from 1965. We think it's pretty well run its course. So it's time to replace it. So about a $50,000 expenditure. Our fire apparatus repairs, like we give you the capital report, our age of fleet. So, and we wait till last quarter for most of our equipment replacements. So some of our overages we were able to cover from balance and savings reductions and things to keep a balanced budget at the end of the year. Overall, though, pretty extensive two numbers there. $40,000 all the times that we had people come for heat and other things, and the vehicle expenses. So we were able this time, to manage that within our budget. Very hard to do, but we were able to do that. Just a reminder about the capital plan for fire and rescue. Got $2.5 million loan. Just got the bill in the mail today for next week to pay that. We're funding that from the out of town runs. Our payoff's not till August of 2037, which means our next engine replacement, which is our 99 engine, is going to be 38 years old. And that is just the engine stuff. You also get a spreadsheet of the air packs, rope, and utility vehicles, et cetera. And we're going to have to continue down the road. I did participate with the impact fee study. Lady called, and then a gentleman did a follow-up call. So we gave them just what we give you in December, the capital information. I didn't hear what you said.
You're going back to EMS.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You want to do EMS?
You want to read out stuff? You want me to apply to it?
I'll bust through it real quick. Captain Brittingham's not here tonight. You click, I'll read.
Okay.
I'm going to do the same thing I did with the fire stuff. So 6 months prior, 643. This is for EMS, by the way. 643 is number of in-town responses, 445 out of town. You guys can read the percentage breakdown. Prior year to date, 1323 in town, 932 out of town. Again, percentages are what they are. The first 6 months, transports versus non-transports. 511 transports, 132 non-transports. Roughly 80% are transports. Non-transports being they either tendered care or got there and it was not an emergency, stuff like that. Prior year to date, 968 on transports, non-transports 355. Again, 73% of the calls they ran would have been transports. Similar to fire calls, busiest days, busiest times. Your guesses are as good as mine. Monday and Wednesday, followed by Tuesday, busiest times of day, 11 a.m. to 12 noon, followed by 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. for the past 6 months. Year to date, Monday is the busiest day, followed by Wednesday. I would have thought it'd be Friday and Saturday. Busiest times, 11 to 12, 1 to 2. Station notified to responding. So when they get the call to when they hit the street or when they acknowledge we're going on the road, 1 minute, 42 seconds. We're well within any metric nationally of our response times. That's for the past 6 months. Past 1 year, 1 minute, 20 seconds. Again, we are well within any national standard for staff firehouse with EMS. Are we on the state reporting? Simultaneous calls. So, is this EMENS and MEMS dropping the ball on this?
Yes. So we have problems with this about every other time we report. So if we get it, we'll email it to you. They have a reporting issue. It is a hard metric to do, for them to do because there's multiple units in the system and they dispatch one unit, but we respond with another unit. So that makes the report a little crazy for the computer.
We have 4 ambulances, 6-1 through 6-4, but there's 2 crews and they might be on any of those 4 ambulances. What the communication center does to make it easy is just paramedic 6-1 respond. It might be 6-3, it might be 6-4. That crew comes up and says X unit is responding. Now they have to replace the initial unit. It's just easier for us to do it that way, and it's much easier on communications to do it that way. But in doing so, it boogers that reporting system up. Just like with fire, Berlin is famous for the 1, 2, sometimes 3 call. I don't know how that is, but it because Central will always dispatch paramedic 6-1 respond. Well, they might be in units 6-3 and 6-4 this week because we're going to rotate stuff around to save units. So they'll say paramedic 6-3 is responding. Well, they'll put that unit on the call, but for the stats purposes, it was 6-1 that's put on it. So it's hard to track it for this reason. It's hard to track, simultaneous calls because sometimes it looks like they were all simultaneous calls when that's not exactly the case.
Kelvin, you talked about simultaneous calls in the fire section also. Can you share with us any challenges that these type of calls present to your organization or to your department?
Same with anything else. If we've already dedicated staffing and units to the primary call and something else comes up, generally speaking, there'll be enough volunteers there to cover at least the initial piece out for the second call. But let's say that second call is more labor intensive than the first, right? So the first call might be a fire alarm anywhere. So 2 pieces with 8 total people went to the fire alarm. The second call might be a crash that's bad with people trapped, which necessitates lots of fire trucks. But we have just so many people to get at least one more fire truck out of us and on the road. And then we rely on our mutual aid partners to start bringing backup. And then if we can clear units from the initial call, or the first unit can get there and say, hey, we can handle it by ourselves. That second one that was coming to help, turn them around and go back and help with the other one. Is that an answer?
Yeah.
And that's why we came to you all several years ago to tell you we need to up staff to 4 career people there. So that, just to refresh everybody's memory, that's one of the reasons why all these simultaneous calls, and then also the more frequent calls where we're transporting to Salisbury again. So that number is creeping up again. So that ambulance, those 2 individuals are gone for an hour to an hour and a half versus 15 or 20 minutes at Lane General. So that's another important reason why we give you the simultaneous call report, to show you the reason for the staffing levels we have, why we've gone from 1 to 2 to 3 to 5 to 16
there'll be
full-time employees.
many times when all 4 employees are on their way to Salisbury and we have to do musical chairs on the scene. Hey, you came on the fire truck. The ambulance is here. We brought the ambulance. You guys got to get on the ambulance to go to it is a little bit of a ballet, but it is not out of the ordinary for all 4 career staff to be on their way to the hospital.
So on the EMS, no real 6-month reports there. Overall for the year, just a note, mentioned it before, EMS invoice and revenue increases. That's because of our follow-up by administration and the aggressiveness of our billing and collection agency. The expense, not as bad as the fire company, but the fuel spikes increase and the age of the fleets. We're at the end of that cycle of those 3 ambulances, except for the new one that just came in. So we'll see our vehicle expenses for the next few years go up, and we raised our budget accordingly. For the fiscal year, medical supplies, that's due to increased call value, inflation. Postage, same thing. You all see what's going on with stamps. We do still have to mail things out. Everything's not electronic. Technology repairs and the annual donation, that's got to be mailed out. Our salary expense, while we have some offset by reduced benefits, it's canceled out by the overtime and the holdover callback pay. And then some of the funds that we used for the reduced health benefits, we've got the underfunded retirement health insurance account that we're funding. Again, not as bad with the fire, but it's $21,400 overage of the vehicle maintenance. Capital expense, we did get our 2025 ambulance in. There's what that costs to get on the road. And then we had the 2027 and the 2029. And again, what's in parentheses there, when they give us a price, since those ambulances are, this is only 2026, we don't know, or the ambulance manufacturer does not know what the Ford portion, the motor, the engine, all that's bought from Ford Motor Company. They don't know what that's going to cost. So they use the 2026 price. So we know that's going to go up. Same thing with the 2029 ambulance. So we know those increases are going to go up. You can clearly see the 2027 is going to go way up because the 2025 is 463. So you know that 2027 price is not correct. And we know it's not correct, but that's the best price when we sign a contract, because we have to sign these contracts, 3 years out to make sure we're getting the ambulances replaced. That's how we're funding it. We're on the 3rd year of the commitment. So for the town, and then it's going to come up on us pretty quick because the next ambulance will be 2035 and 2032. So in 6 years, so we need to get working on that now, whether that's impact fees or however you all want to fund it. We've got to have continued town contribution to make this next replacement cycle. And I think that concludes both of those. I'll let her take over the control.
Before we start with questions for the fire department, I'd just like to mention for the record Mary Clinton will join us at about 6:12. See ya.
Let you continue to run it. I just sit here, I'll vote tonight, run the meeting, and we'll see how it goes.
Well,
He does great on a curve. I would have made that 6.
Just swap seats.
Thank you all. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I apologize for the tardiness. My son had to swim. I always say to staff, but family comes first. So even here, so I appreciate that. And my colleagues, I was tuning in on the drive in, so you all did a great job even in my absence. Thank you both for the presentation this evening. I don't know if there's anything from the council, but
I just have a quick question. I think I've asked the freshman already, and if it's silly, you'll have to be later. Does an ambulance always go with a fire truck to a call, or vice versa?
Yes.
not vice versa.
No, not vice versa.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry. Yes. Yeah. The ambulance always goes on a fire related call.
Just not.
A fire truck will go on an EMS call dependent on the severity of the call.
Regarding your fuel cost, are you able to do any kind of term contract for fuel cost?
We do. So we negotiate with, we're really down to one local fuel vendor now that delivers on a regular basis, but we do negotiate at the budget time, and we are exempt from all taxes. So that saves us.
And we had a vendor that we were using that allowed our tanks to run empty.
Yeah. So that's why I said we were down to one local vendor that can provide the 24/7 service that we need and handle our needs, because we can't be waiting for
pressing upon the ambulance replacement cost. They're expensive. It's coming. We will need help. Congress drugged the fire apparatus manufacturers before the hill and beat on them appropriately, but they didn't drag a single ambulance manufacturer up there. And their costs have increased at the same percentage that fire apparatus costs have increased. So a $200,000 ambulance 6 years ago is 100% more. Same with fire truck.
I think we're all, I'm going to speak comfortably for the group, we're all interested to see how the impact fee analysis comes back, and we're hopeful there's going to be some way to hopefully offset some of those capital costs.
Well, I would see what becomes of the congressional hearings for the fire apparatus manufacturers, because I bet Horton will be drugged before them before long.
Are those ongoing right now? Like
They've already concluded, but it was how did the delivery window go up by 150%? The cost go up by 100%, and the raw materials and all that, the input cost went up about 25%. So what happened there?
I was just wondering if letters of support to representatives might be.
No, I'd say that horse left the barn, and now they're waiting for answers.
By the way, I did get your donation letter in the mail today. I see you really enhanced it with the information you provide. So, well done.
I haven't seen that.
And that was what I was going to ask when the council concluded. Just everybody check their mail. We try to put on the front, and it's not trying to be a derogatory stamp on the front that says this is not junk mail, this is important, but that's what we put on there because we need our people to open that up and not think that's just a rhetoric. And it explains the importance of it and all, like you said, all the cost of it. So that's why we put that on the front, that big stamp on the front. So, but thank you.
Parking lot donation. No.
They're about the same. Yeah, about the same. Yeah. And it's all weather dependent. And I'll just use farmers market, like the crowd. If it's a nice day, like Father's Day, Mother's Day, whatever it was, it fell on Father's Day, I think. It's busy. If it's cloudy, rainy, yeah. So, yeah, that doesn't do a lot. So, and then again, it is, on a honor system, if you will, donation based. Nobody's out there, putting a guilt trip on anybody. So you can look at the cameras and you get one out of every five that gives you something. And we appreciate what people do give. So as I tell my wife when she says, you go up there every Sunday and put those signs up, is it worth it? I said, if it's $1 in the bucket, it's worth it. So that's just my attitude. Mm-hmm. Yep. And the QR codes are out there all the time.
We'll start chasing it down.
Sure.
Not on ours.
Running after.
Thank you. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, guys. Very appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is The first reading of ordinance 2026-05, amending sections of chapter 28, streets, sidewalks, and certain other public places, and the town administrator is going to run point.
Items 3 and 4 are actually connected, but separate.
Okay.
The first reading of the ordinance, it's essentially as it's presented, it's language to bring it into compliance with other sections of the code and certain areas, particularly regarding notice to property owners and enforcement, as well as language that clarifies what the cost share program. The cost share program has always been part of the town code, but hopefully this language clarifies things a little bit. So at this point, it being a first reading, I would ask if there are any questions.
Well, just for the public, I know we do this fairly regularly, but if you look at the document that's in the packet, if you see something that has a line through it, that's what's slated to be removed.
Correct.
If you see something in bold, that is the text that is, caps, thank you. That is the text that is being introduced as a change. So I think that'll be helpful for everybody. And then there's a public hearing slated for our next mayor and council meeting, which is August 10th, 2026 at 6:00 p.m. So if you have any questions, council members, go ahead and ask Mary at this time.
Well, I just think that, I think that, well, this is introduced, but should we tie into the discussion, the additional considerations about commercial, non-residential?
You could, that's more the policy conversation, but it's certainly worth discussing.
So do you have any recommendations on that?
Well, I think that we could do it now, or we could just do it at the public hearing. But I think
it's better to do it now.
Yeah, if you end up with any language changes, we can get those incorporated.
So what is, so staff suggestion is 75% owner.
Page number,
Oh, sorry, page 26. Okay.
That is actually part of the staff report. My suggestion, if you wish to consider it, is that residential be at a 50-50, which is how the car share program has always read. And then commercial, you could leave it the same. You could include both residential and commercial in there, or you can make changes. That's purely a suggestion that I made for your consideration.
and this is budget dependent
Yes.
on us having the available funds.
It's in various places. That it is not a guarantee from year to year. It is dependent on budget allocation.
So for folks that may be reading this or watching this at home, best practice if this were to pass is if you're interested in making a repair, you make contact with the town first before the repair, not just thinking that the town
Correct.
has the funding in place to be able to make that.
Correct, absolutely.
Okay, Councilmember Worse, still anything on the commercial side?
Well, I think, I'm throwing it out there for discussion. I mean, this is a draft suggestion for commercial properties to be 75-25. I think that if we want to do as a body something different, we can advise them now and they can put it in.
I guess incorporated. Right now, I don't have it memorized, but I believe that the language in the code addresses both residential and commercial equally. So we would need to make a language change separately.
And this is for not new construction, but
Correct.
repairs.
Correct.
So I think that if you're talking about repairs, I would keep it 50-50 unless the council, for both residential and commercial, unless there's.
It was a suggestion.
Yeah, I personally like 50-50 better too.
For
I think what we're going to find here,
For
and
both?
what I have found, is that it's a shock.
Here, Councilmember.
both commercial.
She'd ask.
Yes, I'm sorry. It's residential now, 50-50, right? Really the only.
It doesn't specify.
I don't think it specifies. I can't swear to that, but I don't think it
I think
specifies.
it does. I thought,
Okay, you may be correct.
maybe we can check that. Because I think it does.
Yeah.
It does? Okay.
Because I've been working with a community that talking about it.
Yep.
So, I think what we're going to find is that folks are startled that they hear that the sidewalk in front of their homes, yes, they have to clear it from snow, weeds. I think they're going to be surprised when they hear that a, act of nature or whatever the case may be, trees, that are causing a public safety hazard, that it's their responsibility, whether even if it's shared with the town or themselves. So that's the fear I have as this work gets out, and I think I've seen it already. But I have done the research and see that it is common practice in government that the cost is split.
And that's been part of the code since 1994 at least,
Right.
possibly earlier.
It's just as a recap for those who are here, who up until, I guess, July 1st, there wasn't money in the program.
Right.
There is money in the program now. We put in the budget $20,000. What that will do as far as, I guess my question is that we have a community where there are safety hazards. Can the town go in and make repairs to I'm not talking about replacing, more like grinding down the elevated parts of the sidewalk that are causing the trip hazards? If we agree that the town could do that, how would that expense be negotiated, I guess?
Well, it depends if the town resources could handle the job
Right.
versus us outsourcing that. If we had to outsource those types of things, we would have to evaluate that a little differently.
Right. But that's what I think I've seen, and I could be wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, but there's an area right from the Atlantic Hotel that was grinding down at some point in time.
Correct. But it also still stayed within tolerance of the ADA.
Right.
But there's areas maybe in another location where we're looking at 1.5 inches. So even if now we're talking about grinding, we're gonna have to grind almost 1.5 foot to get that rate as we would need to have. So,
Do we know, did the state highway, is it on Main Street, did the state highway do it, or did?
it was state highway, it buckled a little bit. They come in and smoothed it down. They're probably only talking like a 1/2 inch tolerance. Some of the areas that we're seeing, specifically are 1 to 2 inches.
Right. Yeah.
And of trip hazard. So it'd be a lot difficult to create that ramp to keep with an ADA specification.
Right. So it's like, while it's in the code already, it's this here kind of, I guess, recodifies it. It still doesn't really sit well with me, but I understand that it is best practices in government. It just feels like it's not very friendly, but I also realize we don't have an underneath budget. But it's just, I'm a little just concerned about it when I feel like, and there's some gray area in some areas.
Well, and I think that's where I am. When it comes to the streets and sidewalks and whatnot, does this pertain also to the communities that have HOAs? Does the town, does this ordinance right here address those sidewalks within the HOA communities, or does this, you know what I'm saying? Because once with many of them, I don't know if it's every single one, but the most of the HOAs for the communities, once the builders are gone, the town absorbs streets, for lack of a better term. And, you know what I'm saying? And even within these communities, does this cover, or are they in that gray, or are they still in that 50-50? How in the world do we do that?
I think Dave can probably speak a little more to how the HOAs particularly.
Well, it really depends. A lot of it depends on the HOA document itself, because there are certain HOAs that sidewalks are common area. And if they're common area, they're the responsibility of the HOA.
And there are some areas as well that we don't have the streets.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Just,
For
it's
some
kind of a
of it,
case by case.
and that's what makes
But
how we
it's
do
really
things
not-
in this town kind of
it's really not that much
I
on
would
this,
say it's different.
whether the HOA is responsible or the individual property